What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Verdependent podcast, where we depend on the Verde and Black for our everyday vibes. This episode is sponsored by AC Memento. AC Memento, your digital sports and concert scrapbook. This week, we break down Match Day 1 versus Minnesota United, check in on our 2026 best ball team, and preview Match Day 2 versus DC United, before closing out the episode, as always, with a stoppage time rundown of the hottest Austin FC, MLS, and World Footy storylines of the past week. I'm Logan Bartlett.
What's up, everyone? This is Paul Flettes.
And we have a lot of fun pros to talk about in terms of pre-match vibes, so I'll leave the banter to that. First and foremost, let's get to some preheated takes. Paul, you were way off last week. So what are you feeling this week?
Brother, I can't tell you. I feel like I'm just stacking up the L's here. But it's just a friendly reminder that whatever your friend that has been following the MLS says, bro, they don't know ball. No one knows ball in this league. Or they could be like Lobar and they know all the ball after only just starting several seasons back.
FIFA brain, bro. It works.
That's what it is, bro. That's what it is. No, in all seriousness, though, I think for this coming week, I was telling you off air, Lobar, that I wanted to retract my previous preheated take, which was that DC will record their first win against Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, I mean, obviously they just won a gritty 1-0 against Philly United on opening weekend. However, when it's come to playing against Austin, we've always had their number. Mm-hmm. Something tells me that third time or whatever, fourth time, it might be the charm for them. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the prettiest. I think, if anything, last weekend showed us that we can have a couple of lapses in us and let some points slip out of our grasp.
Right.
And so I'm going to try and keep it still in that vein, but also say that Austin FC will record 10 plus shots against United on their way to dropping more points at home.
That's sad.
I know, man.
I like the first.
I don't like to do this, but I have to.
I like the first. I mean, you might as well just renege on that preheated take because it's already, it's already wrong. They already won their first game, so like you might as well just flip on it. You know what I'm saying?
No. What I'm saying is they haven't won against Austin.
Okay, I see. Okay, yes, that's right. That's what the whole expounding you used to was about. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes.
Well, for me, I'm going to keep the positive vibes because someone has to. Austin FC will record their first clean sheet of the year versus DC United this Sunday. I think second, pairing that with your preheated take will go positive for Austin FC. I think we will get 10 plus shots, and I think we will handily beat DC United, at least in my preheated takes. Let's talk about more of that in the second half, where I'll actually give my real vibes. But I'm all positives right here.
Love it. I love it.
So let's get to talking about this season opener, right? It's the 2026 Austin FC season kicked off with an exhilarating 2-2 draw at Q2 Stadium. But before we get into the the outcome and the play and all the things on the field, let's talk about the lead up to match day 1, right? Q2 was at full capacity with sponsor pop-ups and match day installations aplenty both in and around the stadium. And obviously we had a whole day before that. We can get into that here now, but how would you describe the pre-match vibes going into our 6th season as a club? Is that right?
Big 6, man. The big 6, bro. It's 5+. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. It was really good, man. I think the weather was really nice. Obviously, we had a little bit of a cold front coming through Austin the night of the match, but leading up to it, it was great. I think there was a lot of buzz around the concourse. And I'm just trying to think, because you and I were actually a part of a little, bachelor celebration and festivities as part of your big day. But I'm trying to think of what all went down. I know for me,
what was the line like? Because y'all were out at the stadium.
Yeah, the line. I mean, outside of the new HEB, no longer the zebra gate. Was massive, man. I think heading into gates opening, I was surprised to see it. Granted, I'm usually with Murga. Mm-hmm. This is my first time not starting out, with the rest of the crowd. But I was surprised to see how long that line was getting back by the what do you call it? The parking grass there in front of the front offices and all that good stuff. But
right.
it moved by pretty quick. Security was always friendly, and we got the pins. Obviously,
Yes, we did.
those were really fun, high quality, man. I was worried that it was going to be a one or the other kind of situation, but to see that we walked away with two, good on the club.
Yeah, they're nice too. I do like them.
Yeah, I'll definitely be rocking those for sure. Speaking of this sweater that I'm wearing, it's this nice little crew neck sweater that I got the Verde store instead of the kit this year, because I was like, I will wear this much more than I will that kit. But we'll talk about our thoughts on the uniform probably later on in the episode. But yeah, I think all that to say, it was a positive vibe all around. I think there was a lot of buzz and excitement. I really liked the Di Tener Más Fotos. The little sing along that Belly Grossa had before kickoff with the lights. I thought that was really cool, which led right into the TIFO, which shout out, all the SGs and all the fans that contributed to, the tribute to the Black Cowboys. Was really cool to see. Obviously, I was way off in terms of thinking team centric, but that's cool. Yeah. Because we have a whole community here in Austin that thinks beyond just the 11 on the pitch. Yep. And that was really cool to see. So shout out Marco and the rest of the folks that contributed there. But yeah, man, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a good vibe. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, well, I'll take that back. I've definitely tailgated a couple times, for playoffs, for, anthem get-togethers and other things. Too, right. But this is the first time that I tailgated out of my trunk of my car. So long story short, Paul mentioned this. I'm getting married, right? And Saturday was a game. The game was the cap in to my bachelor party day. So a buddy of mine, he has a brewery out in East Texas. It's called Rugenbach Brewery. It's in Marshall, Texas. Shit's fire. He brought a bunch of beer for all of us to drink in parking lots throughout the day. So we had the last of the beer in the parking lot around the trunk of my car while some of the boys were holding down the line so we can get spots in the stadium. Shout out you, Paul. Thank you. Yep. But we had a few beers right on D-Loop, just holding it down. I brought out the folding chairs and we just hung out for about half an hour, drank a couple beers and talked and chatted, and then beat the line, or skipped the line. There was no line when we walked up. So we went right in, grabbed our pins, said hi to Kat, from season ticket rep, and then ran over to the seats to join y'all. And yeah, man, it was a vibe. I mean, the energy, of course, always match day one is, through the roof. Everybody's excited for what can be, what may be, and what probably won't be for the season. We all have high expectations, high hopes, and we'll get into that now. I mean, I think it was a fun game in my opinion. So let's start first with some lineup talk, some of the new guys, some of the guys missing, and we'll go from there. Austin lined up in at least what Apple TV said was a 4-2-3-1 and a narrow 4-2-3-1 at that. That highlighted our shiny new attacking signings, Facundo Torres, Jaden Nelson, and Joseph Rosales. Notable names missing from the roster, either for injury, which we expected, or for unknown reasons, were Brandon Vasquez, of course, Mikel Dessler, Basard Sabovic, Guillermo Biro, and Owen Wolf. Knowing the result of this match, right, a 2-2 draw, how do you feel about Austin's potential depth this season, given that 4 starters and Sabovic were all missing this game, right? 4, day-to-day pinned-in starters were missing.
Yeah. I am probably going to out myself here a little bit with regards to like the pessimism that I tend to have on my preheated takes. But I think that I feel very positive in terms of the depth that we have on the squad. I look back to Minnesota's starting 11 and I think back and go, okay, actually, you know what? They're not a bad team, Yeah. They managed to challenge a good part of the way through, obviously Open Cup, and I think they had that exit in the playoffs last year, of course. But all that to say, like, they're still strong players in there, and I think for us to not have our full caliber of starters, I think to hold them to 2 goals when I think two seasons ago on the season opener we lost 2-1 if I'm not mistaken. It bodes well for me, at least. I feel like if we can not have our full complement of players and still have 10 plus shots on target and still come away with 2 goals and still do all of these things, at least moving forward in the attack. Dude, I feel really good about that when we actually do get our key players back. But
I feel like we're almost spoiled this just from one game, right? This is obviously
of course
hyperbolic, but I feel like we're almost spoiled in a way because we have so many guys that can play at this level that are likely going to come off the bench in some way, right? I think John and John Nogali and Kolmanich did a great job, and they're likely both dudes that are going to be off the bench most games once Dessler and Biro are back, right? So I think they did great to continue or to play their part in the offense and the build up, and then of course work their ass off on defense. We're almost spoiled. It's like, how do we find enough minutes for all these guys? You look at the 3 competitions we'll be in, and that's the answer right there. But game in and game out, we'll likely see a good amount of change, and it's curious to see how Estevez and the players kind of adapt to that week in and week out. It's a fun, mystery that will be solved week to week throughout the season.
Exactly. And I think that's something that Nico mentions in the post-game conference, right? Where it's a little bit of a struggle for him and the coaching staff to find, the best 11 for the occasion. And so all that to say is I really enjoyed what we saw from the starting 11. There were, of course, some things that we could be critical on, but right off the bat, I think, the first one that stands out to me was Jaden Nelson on the left side. I mean, dude is so fast, so fast. And I think what's really cool and important for a lot of fans to recognize is that he is the direct replacement for Bukhari at this point at a fraction of the cost. I mean, I'm excited to see what he could bring in terms of that attacking third, and to, contribute for not just himself, but for the team around him. And so, really excited for him.
Yeah, I thought he definitely stood out, of course, given that he was so active in the attack and the ball was playing through him so much. I think the obvious, in terms of designation, but, surprise in terms of the winger curse for Austin was Facundo Torres, right? His first action, he gets the ball on a corner and gets an assist right away, right?
Yep.
And seeing that, less than 10 minutes into his time for Austin FC, getting a goal contribution, and then throughout the game, getting a couple more super dangerous opportunities that he knew he should have finished. It's like, it makes me a little nervous with Uzuni right next to him, having that same, situation last season often where it's like, oh, I should have finished that. And that's almost always the go-to, when he misses it.
The X hand up.
Exactly. Yeah. Hand on head, or like, the frustration clearly. But I think Torres, he played so well with Uzuni and with Nelson, and everybody played well off each other in an exciting way. The team moved so fast. They were dedicating themselves to overloading aside and doing all these little mini triangles to keep the ball moving, keep the defenses moving. It's very similar to honestly how we talked, if I'm not mistaken, the beginning of last year, where we saw kind of something similar with a lot of ball movement early in the season, where we saw those basic triangles where, new players still getting used to each other, go back to the basics, rely on each other in a natural way, and just move fluidly. And we moved away from that throughout 2025 often, right, into this more rigid, systemic,
a little bit more counter,
right. And so I think I'm hopeful that that's something that persists, because there's a lot of speed in that front four, man. And we mentioned this. You mentioned this in terms of goals, right? We got 2 goals, but we ended the game with 10 shots, 6 shots on target, and then the 2 goals. I think it was a very lively offensive performance. Everyone that was a part of it was moving, was intentional. We were quick on loss of possession to press and try to get the ball back. Danny and Rosales and those dudes sprinting across to challenge, the defenders and central midfielders when they get the ball, to try to turn it back over and get us the ball again so we can keep running. So I think that's a fun aspect that really opens up a new avenue for Austin FC. And then something we were calling out time and time again throughout the game were those long balls from wide, from the middle. Like, people were slinging through balls and balls over the top from all over the field, whether it was Heinz Ike, whether it was Kolmanich, whether it was Ilie, right? Danny, everybody from everywhere was throwing in these balls for the runners and behind. And I like to see that. It was some dangerous opportunities. It makes the keeper and the defense have to react, in a split second while the ball is flying at them. And I think it's something that if we continue to do, it'll end up being fruitful for us. So I like that a lot. I think that was something that stood out that we didn't see as often last year. under Estevez, and I think he finally has some exciting toys to play with, right? In terms of the new guys coming in and like guys who bring new layers consistently. Yeah. So it was exciting. On the defensive side, right? Despite giving up the 2 goals, in my opinion, I thought the defense looked mostly solid in the run of play, right? When Minnesota had possession and we were running around trying to stop them, I thought we did pretty well. Yet our 2 kryptonites still ring true in corners and counterattacks, right? So this begs a familiar question, but maybe in a new context. You know, how does Austin solve their inability to defend set pieces and counterattacks?
Yeah, no, I think it's a valid question still, despite, you know, how long it's been asked of the team. But I want to start in reverse order of the goals. So Kelvin Yeboah's header, I think, for instance, is a really good example of, if you look at the frame by frame, it's never a good idea to have both your center backs marking the front post, wherever that ball sided, cross maker is playing the ball into. And for me, when I see Heinz Ike and Svatok kind of overloading that front post and leaving Kolmanich to kind of be in no man's land, yes, it is Jean's responsibility to try to pick up the mark there, but it's a little bit shameful for both CBs to kind of be caught out there, to leave a big man like Kelvin just wide open for that header. And so I think that's something that is easily coachable and easily, if we remind those 2 center backs who do such a good job in that box regardless, and trying to minimize, the aerial threats there. That shouldn't be an issue. And obviously Nico talked about it as that being kind of a moment where, there was a little bit of lapse in terms of concentration because of the whole Robert Taylor situation, trying to get the sub in. And so I think that's something that I think you and I both saw throughout the match where, especially like with Facu and maybe a little bit with Rosales. And I guess this is more having to be with just like new players in the system, but not playing or like playing till the whistle, essentially, right? We would see those moments throughout the game where Facu would want to, gesture towards, a call that should have been made and kind of gives up for a second. And that kind of throws me off a little bit because I'm like, bro, like there's no whistle. Like you got to keep going. Right. And that kind of translates into this 90-minute giveaway there. But that second one, again, a little bit of that lapse where I think height could have been an issue here. Obviously, I think Ilie is the one that's supposed to be marking Dugan, but he's got a clear
picked on that run too on the back post. Then it leaves again Jean on an island, kind of feet not set in that moment where there's a dude jumping on his back and he's kind of just like, oh shit.
Right. I dunked on. Yeah, I think that's what's hard is because, set pieces are such a finicky thing, and it really can be like you play so good in the run of play, and then you give up a free kick opportunity or something like this, and we got to figure that out. But I say that because it doesn't discourage me as much as it should, because we are also capable, it looks like, just from this one game of generating an offense that can score multiple goals, which you don't always hear from Austin FC, outlets. So that's something to encourage folks for real.
Yeah, I think so too. And to the point of the set pieces, defending them specifically, right? Something that's been joked about often in our group during games is like Stuver. It's almost like he's glued to his line. He's not allowed to come out. And right in that corner, if I'm not mistaken, that corner lands like right on the edge of the 6-yard box, if not closer. And Stuver's kind of stuck, tries to jump one way and then gets stuck just trying to find where the ball is at. And it's one of those moments. It's like, bro, you're what, 6'3" and long ass arms, like just jump up there and get a hand on it. When John Coleman is just getting dunked on, you know what I mean? It's granted easier said than done when the ball is flying into your box in about 1.5 seconds, but it's almost the directive he's given of like stay on your line no matter what.
Right.
Which isn't good when you have a bunch of 6'5" Minnesota players flying at you.
For sure. Well, and to give credit to Sue, I mean, there was a moment specifically I remember looking at. I think it was in the first half when the action was on our side on the supporter section. But there's a moment where I saw Brad clearly just give a punch out.
Yes.
So he came out and did some of that there. So it's not it's not law by any means that he stays there. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, that there is that common tendency to stay glued there. But shit, yeah, man.
Yeah, we could pick at it all day for any reason. All that to say is, I think if we can clean those moments up a little bit, or maybe this is just a blip in the grand scheme of the season where we end up being solid in these moments, in these nervy moments. But yeah, it's a learning opportunity, which obviously Nico said and the team said, Stuart said it himself. It's just these moments that we clean up and we win games easily 2-1, 2-0, right? Moving forward. So all in all, I think it was a positive performance.
I agree.
Room for improvement, right? That's as is any draw, But
for sure.
Let's change the tune here a little bit and let's talk best ball. So the 2026 best ball season is upon us, thanks to our gracious commissioners over at the North End podcast. For the third time or the third year in a row, we joined the North End, We Are Austin TV, Moon Tower, Verde All Day, and SoccerWise in the hunt for fantasy MLS glory. And we here at the Verdependent are looking to relinquish ourselves of the 2025 best ball wooden spoon. So a very, very, very high level overview for the listener. It used to be tied to the MLS Fantasy app. Now it's been completely removed from MLS Fantasy, and Zach at the North End has kind of taken his own twist on things using other data outlets to track score. So we entered draft night needing 5 attackers, 5 midfielders, 3 defenders, and 2 goalkeepers from around MLS, including 1 Austin FC player required by each team. And then we'll do the week to week throughout the entire season. We'll accumulate points, and whoever is leading at the end wins it all, right? So we left with what we believe to be a strong contending roster. So with that, we present to you the 2026 Verdependent Best Ball roster. Paul, I want to let you get started with naming the 5 attackers that we drafted.
Yeah, sure thing. So right off rip, we've got LAFC's Denny Bwanga. We got DC United, or sorry, that's not DC United. That is Chicago Fire's.
Yeah, Chicago Fire's.
You're good. We also picked up the number 10 for Austin FC as our requirement. That's Mirto Uzuni. Chicago midfielder Jonathan Bamba, and LA Galaxy's Joao Klaus for our attackers. Do you want to take over the midfield?
Yeah, in the midfield, we took Nashville's Hani Mukhtar. So we got the dynamic duo of Austin FC villains and Denny Bwanga and Hani Mukhtar. We picked up Miami's Rodrigo de Paul. We got Charlotte's Pep Biel, who we had last season, and he did well for us. We got LA Galaxy's Marco Royce. And we have Minnesota's Joaquin Pereira, who had himself an assist, but he was not one of the top earners for us this week because our team cooked. And then who do we have in defense, Paul?
Yeah, so in defense, going back to Nashville, we have Andy Nahar, who's one of their fullbacks. And then in San Diego, we've got center back Sean McVay and LAFC's Ryan Hollingshead, the mustache man himself. Yep. And then in goal, who do we have?
We have Red Bull New York's Ethan Horvath, U.S. men's national team, possible. He has been in the past. And then Cincinnati's Roman Celentano. So after week 1, we sit comfortably in second place behind strong performances from Denny Bwanga, who had a goal and an assist, and their 3-0 thrashing of Inter Miami. Sean McVay out in San Diego, who had a goal in their 5-0 shutout of Montreal. And then Roman Celentano, goalkeeper, who had 3 saves and a shutout in their 2-0 win over Atlanta. I think if I remember correctly, looking over the total number. So to give some context here, we have 5 attackers, 5 midfielders. Only the top 2 earners from both positions count toward our points week in and week out. The top defender out of the 3 counts toward our points, and the top goalkeeper out of the 2 counts toward our points. So it's only 6 guys that are counting toward our weekly point total. But among our 15-player team, we had the highest total points across all teams. Unfortunately, the highest of the highs weren't as high as our friends over at We Are Austin TV, but we had a great outing, and it's a good sign for what's to come, where we have just consistency. All you need in this league is consistency.
That's it, man. That's it.
So with that, man, how are you feeling about our best ball roster this year?
Brother, I can't tell you. I mean, when we left that draft night, I was so elated to know that one, we didn't sign a player that was not going to play until
I know what you're talking about.
2 months into the season with Joseph Paintsel. I don't know if you remember that. And then we also ended up picking up Giacomo Veroni from Montreal, who ended up also being on the injured list. And so we were kind of starting off last year with, shooting ourselves with both feet. I think after the first week, we only had one player score double-digit points, whereas this year we had, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the double digits.
Yeah.
So right off
rip, at 8 or more.
Yeah, it was like we picked up some really good contributors.
We did.
Who are constant, over the course of the MLS season. So looking really forward to how this is going to shake out after 34 game weeks? I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah. 34.
So it's like, I'm ready, dude. I'm ready to get rid of this damn wooden spoon.
And I think more than anything, I want to thank Z&E for putting together like a really strong kind of player list of like player meets position, because the MLS site was pretty unreliable and not often updated, especially in the preseason when we did our draft. So there was a lot of, if you just didn't know MLS like others, you were at a disadvantage already. And I didn't, right? And I think this year we had a lot more information to go off of. And so we were able to do some good research, put a strong list of names together, and then let my boy Push a P out here cook and use his deep well of knowledge to pick and choose who gets drafted. So I liked it. And of course, we're in the war room texting the entire time, like, give us 1 second, please.
Yes.
And trying to figure it out. So
good times indeed.
I feel good about it, man. And I think this will definitely be an avenue for us to keep up with MLS this year. So look for us to keep talking about what's going on around the league and the context of our team and best ball by and large. So with that, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about this match against DC United. And we're back. Austin FC faced DC United this Sunday for a 1:30 p.m. kickoff. DC United went through a roster overhaul this offseason, letting Christian Benteke walk after a down season for him and replacing him with a pair of $4.6 million strikers in 2025 Philadelphia Union standout Ty Baribo and Romanian international Louis Montanu. Additionally, they brought in Red Bull New York Sean Nealis and Swift Youth international center back Sylvan Hefty to shore up a backline that allowed an Eastern Conference high 66 goals last season. In goal, DC brought in MLS stalwart Sean Johnson to man the sticks. And yet, despite all of these perceived upgrades, MLS experts have DC United finishing somewhere around 14th in the East this season. This past weekend, DC United promptly countered those poor expectations with a 1-0 win against Philadelphia Union, looking particularly dangerous in quick turns of possession when running at the defense. Paul, what will be key for Austin to shut down DC's aggressive attack, a style that we saw exposed just a couple days ago in the Minnesota United match?
Right. So I want to key in on a word you used there, which was aggressive, which I think for a team that doesn't generate over, one whole XG is saying a lot. But all that to say is they still have a proven striker in Ty Baribo, who, that's more than what we can say about our current striker situation at Austin. And that's the only reason I say not only reason, but that's a large reason why I have them finally challenging for the win against the Verde Black on Sunday is because, simply put, their guy up top is going to be a little bit more clinical with his chances than our guy on top. But if Austin can show that by committee they can generate the opportunities that they did against United, then I can definitely eat my words happily and celebrate 3 points with the boy. But
that's the hope.
But man. I think the key is going to be to just put Mark Baribo as much as possible when he's entering and running around between our center back line. But
yeah,
other
yeah,
than that, I think just hold it down.
I think what makes their offense look so, I'll use aggressive again to continue with that word.
Yeah,
It's really is Ty Baribo, and not only his talent, but the wingers are very intentional in getting him the ball. Right,
yeah,
you watch the highlights, and time and time again, they're running down the flanks and immediately hitting horizontal balls straight into the box to Baribo, who has an
right.
uncanny ability to smack the shit out of a ball, no matter where it lands within his feet.
Yeah,
They would have had another goal if not for a half foot offside from former J League Youth International Jose Kijima. He's their new
that's right.
supplemental left winger, and he had a great game himself. He's a
Yeah.
pacey guy. He wants to run. He wants to counter. So they move quickly. Some of those same flashes we saw from Austin FC, getting the ball up real fast and just sprinting with Jaden Nelson,
Mm-hmm.
Torres, and Uzuni. They had a lot of the same fire, right? Where they had
Yep.
Buribo and their wingers and their center mids all just sprinting right at a back treading defense. Ty Buribo, like I said, he had a goal that was disallowed for offside. He had, of course, the one goal in the game, and he had another beautiful run run into the box where he went from the backside of the left center back across the face of both to get his foot on a very dangerous ball into the middle of the box and just like zipped around everyone with like poetry in motion, just went around two dudes while they're like, wait, what? And he just
Right.
smacked the ball right off the post. And it was, inch from being a goal. And that kind of play is what gives me some fear when they show up here in Austin.
Yeah.
But I think where we have, a good chance of cutting that out early is that kind of midfield and high pressure we put a lot when we gave up possession. They want
Mm-hmm.
to counter, they want to play quick, they don't want possession, at least, one game in, and kind of the philosophy we're seeing so far. And so if we can get, Rosales, Danny, Ilie, or whoever's next to him in the midfield to really pounce on every ball once the possession turns over, they want to
Mm-hmm.
play quick up the middle to the attacking line. They didn't play much through the middle, at least in the dangerous chances from what I watched. They play
Yeah.
deep balls wide, and they play it all the way up to the striker to lay it off and make runs in behind. So if we can shut that down early, before they have the chance to send the ball upfield, I
Mm-hmm.
think we'll keep them on the back foot and keep that possession and create some good chances. But do you think Austin fans should feel confident that this team can build on the 2 goals scored in the opener and produce a convincing attacking performance for the second straight week?
Yeah, no, I definitely think as an Austin fan, you should feel confident going into this game. Don't listen to me, man. Don't listen to me. I've got my own weird thing going on. But
Yeah.
you look at the head-to-head, and I mean, I'm pretty sure we have 10 goals to their 4. So I think
Yes.
at a minimum, we've only put 3 on DC, historically speaking. So that said, you should feel good about going to the game on Sunday and seeing some action because, like I said, I feel like at a minimum, there's going to be 10 shots taken from Austin. Whether that, translates against Sean Johnson, we'll see. Whether Ty Baribo or Peglo or, whoever else on United ends up scoring more, that's going to be the real question. But I think you should feel confident going into this one. It really, I think it's just a matter of can our number be bigger than theirs. But
yeah. I'll give some validation to your commitment to the bit here of saying that DC is finally going to win one. This is how this must be how you felt, or the listener felt, when they heard me say, yeah, 4 goals are going to be scored next in the opener, when that had never been a thing ever. It's been a very low scoring head to head over the seasons with Minnesota United, and here we are all of a sudden, 4 goals scored.
right.
I called it, but I was
Yeah,
definitely, that was the 1% on Kalshi. You make that 1% bet, see if the $1 turns into
it
1,000,
hits.
and it did. So
Yeah.
this
Well, and to
is
be
your
fair,
version of
though, I
that.
mean, going back to that little point, though, I mean, the goals have been scored on opening day.
True.
Last year I think was the exception because I think prior to that it was 2-1. I think prior to that was 3-2, right? As St.
Mm-hmm.
Louis, I think, or
Right,
something like
and then
that.
5-0 or
And
whatever.
then I mean, 22 is the standout with 5
Yeah,
goals. But
right. I think
anyway,
going back to the attack, like what can Austin do to produce a convincing performance again in attack. We didn't mention this in the first half because we were talking about other things, but I thought Robert Taylor did a really good job to change the pace of the game when he came in, and really changed the angle of which we were able to attack. And he brought something different than Torres and Jaden Nelson, that really put Minnesota for a loop, right? He created an opportunity. The second goal, the Uzuni goal, was off of Robert Taylor play, back post, across the back post, headed off galley, that may have gone in if not hitting Uzuni's chest. He created a couple other opportunities too that were dangerous and just got the ball in the good places. He will be out for at least this game after suffering a knee injury in the 91st minute of the opener. So I think the key for me here in us really dominating this game from an attacking perspective is can we do it for 90 minutes, right? Can we do it for the 70 minutes we see Jaden Nelson and Torres and everybody together? And then we finally make that first or second sub. Who is it coming on, and can they continue the pressure and continue to bring that pace and that fire like Taylor did? Is that Gallagher gets a chance on the attacking wing, and then that's he's running, he brings his paces, something like that. Do we see Fodry come in and we get two strikers up top and start playing balls in the air? Who knows what that might look like? But I think Taylor being out for this game is notable because he did so well to continue making sure we were attacking for the final 20 minutes of the game and not resting on that on the performance up to that point. So that'll be something to look out for. How do we make up for that? Who steps up in the final third of the game when we start making those subs and maybe need to be attacking more, or just want to be attacking more and not park the bus? So that's something of interest, and to see how the team responds to that. Let's get to some predictions. So you're predicting 10 shots, but a loss. What does that look like for Austin?
Yeah. So oddly enough, I think 10 shots or 10 plus,
or not a win, target. I should say. Sorry, I don't want to put a loss in your.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Well, actually, I've got to stand on business, bro. I mean, because I think I had DC getting the first win over Austin, as that preheated tape. So it's got to be a loss on our end. And I'm committed to the bit. But all I have to say is predictions are 10 plus goals, shots on target, probably.
Yeah.
Anywhere north of 4 feels right, because there's going to be goals. I have a not lopsided 2-3 loss.
Oof.
Austin FC.
For Austin to see DC United winning it.
Yeah,
that's pretty bold, man. I have to disagree with you because I believe in the fortress that is Q2. I believe in the stalwart defense that is the Svatak BHI pairing. We'll likely see Vito back if I had to guess, unless he's injured.
Yeah, I think he should be back.
But I think it's going to be. I think it's a 1-0 win, but with a lot of dangerous opportunities.
That's crazy.
I think Sean Johnson seemed to have a pretty good game. He's still himself. While DC led up a lot of shots in that game, they didn't give up a goal, and the shots weren't from the most dangerous of places in the field against Philly. I think they do enough to keep Austin from capitalizing on those 10 plus shots. Sean Johnson has a solid game, and we get at least one. And I think it's gonna be Torres that scores it. So.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
I think he goes back-to-back goal contributions.
And I do just want to say to you, Lobar, but also more importantly to the listeners, is this whole like woe is me thing is only until this game wraps up, because after that, it's because I made that call. You got
to get points where you can get them.
I got to get my points, man, for these preheated takes. But all that to say, I mean, if it goes the other way. Absolutely. you know me, bro.
It's almost like you're predicting it that way for the consistency, but you expect it to go the way I said.
Exactly.
There you go. I like it.
Yes,
All
sir.
Right. Let's get to stoppage and end this episode here. So we start with some MLS news. FC Cincinnati's Evander went down with a hamstring injury just 13 minutes into their season opener. Fortunately, I believe Cincinnati got the win nonetheless, but that's a knock for them early on. We'll look to see how long he's out. What are your thoughts on this?
It's crazy, man. To have your DP out like that, it's not good, but hope the best for Evander's recovery. But
yeah, Evander has a soft spot in my heart after the MLS All-Star week last year. With Messi not showing up, with the Miami crew not showing up, the spotlight turned to guys like Evander, and he really stepped up. And I thought he did a great job to represent the league, in front of the cameras and behind the microphone. And so I think I always want to see him do well. Also, he's an amazing player, and I think he's good for the league.
Facts.
To counter that retirement league narrative or whatever else you want to call it. So hope he gets back soon. He's a good player, and he needs to keep representing this league at a high level. So
for sure.
Speaking of Messi, Pro confirmed Messi did not violate league rules, nor enter the officials' locker room following the 3-0 loss to LAFC. What happened here?
Bro's a sore loser is what happened. I mean, I don't. Did you get a chance to see this video?
No, I didn't.
So long story short, there's a video of Messi being all upset. I think what's his name? Ear eater. Fucking Suarez.
Yeah.
Is with them and like trying to pull him back and all that stuff. But he's in the hallway of the Coliseum post match, trying to just get onto the officiating crew or whatever. And I don't know, bro. He's you know me, my stance on Messi, bro. It's not a pretty one, but couldn't be me. Not my goat, bro.
It goes so counter to the point I just made about Evander, and how he's good for the face of the league. Well, I mean, Messi's great for eyes and audience and all those things, of course,
and dollars,
yes, he's great for the league in so many ways. But that type of mentality is what makes the haters rejoice. So
yes, I'm rejoicing.
And I'm rejoicing. ESPN Originals are set to show NWSL, the final third, a 3-episode series following Angel City FC, KC Current, and Washington Spirit prior to the 2026 NWSL season kickoff. Tell the listeners a little bit more about this, Paul.
Yeah, man. For anyone that followed along with the NWSL's premiere of the off season, which showed that kind of oh my gosh, what's the word that I'm using? It's I don't want to say trash TV, but it's that kind of
reality-ish,
reality TV, yeah. Exactly. It was this look at a couple of the stars from NWSL taking their off-season practice and all that stuff. It was really cool. A couple of seasons, way too short in my opinion, and so. Right. If you're looking for a little bit of that kind of injection of media that covers the women's league, should be a good little episode or little series for that.
Yeah.
Because the women's game is going to be starting up soon here in the next couple of weeks, and then it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it's a shame they didn't highlight San Diego or Houston, but it is what it is. Next year.
Yeah,
they picked the right teams. They know what's up
for sure. Yes.
Looking internationally, Zinedine Zidane has reached an agreement to become the French men's national team manager. Obviously, he's a legend for the country, for the sport. What are your thoughts on this?
Yep. Yeah, man. I think it was only a matter of time for Zizou to, lead Les Bleus. But I think it's interesting, the timing. Obviously, you don't want to mess things up heading into the World Cup or anything like that, but to pick up right after, I think not the worst thing, but
would you say he's like a player's coach in that way? Like they don't want to mess things up, so they're bringing a guy in who's been there before, who's played at that stage for the country.
And if you followed his career at Madrid, he's very much a good player manager, because I think aside from Chelsea, I think Madrid is probably up there in terms of how challenging it is to appease all the parties
for sure
in that locker room. And so he did a good job of that at a bright spot in Madrid's history. So I think he's got a lot to look forward to, and I'm sure France is going to be buzzing to have him at the helm. So good for him.
Looking internationally, we have an upset alert. We have Bodo Glimt dispatch UCL finalist Inter Milan 5-2 on aggregate to advance in UCL knockouts. That's big. That's unfortunate for Italy and their drive to get those 5 spots back for national play in the standings. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, you love to see an upset when it's not your team on the out, but yeah, I mean, Inter Milan, bro, like y'all got to show up at some point, bro, because this is not it. But shout out Bodo. I think they're putting. Oh my gosh, what did I say? Norway?
Yeah,
Norwegian side. So good on them. First time that a Norwegian side, I think's advanced through the UCL knockouts in some time, if I'm not mistaken. So
in strong fashion too, right? 5-2 aggregate against one of the historic teams, the prestigious teams of Europe, right? That's big. And then lastly, we have Chelsea. In league play, Chelsea dropped points at home against Burnley after Wesley Fofana was shown a double yellow red card in the 72nd minute. And then on the women's side, Girma scores the game winner to see Chelsea women advance past Man United to reach the FA Cup quarterfinals. I think we called this a couple weeks back. We knew it was to be. The women's team would show up. Thoughts on both, on either side of Chelsea?
Yeah, I think especially in an era where, gosh, it's so poignant right now, given the issue right now with the hockey teams in the United States, right? Where it's the women being laughed at as an afterthought, which here on this podcast, I mean that's totally not the vibe, and we try to uplift the women's game as much as possible. And so that to say, at Chelsea, they are that stark reminder that no matter what the dip or what the form looks like on the men's side, the women are always going to do their best to hold it down and continue to advance through what they normally do. So you love to see that it's a U.S. women's national team player in Naomi Girma to help them out. But yeah, from the men's side, bro, it's getting annoying. It's getting annoying a lot, mainly because, and I've told you this off air, I see this enough with Austin FC, bro. And I think a lot of Austin FC fans who hate Chelsea don't want to admit it, but they're Chelsea fans at this point. Like whether they want to believe it or not, they're watching Chelsea in real time
without the global success.
Exactly.
Damn it.
They're watching Chelsea at home.
Exactly. Timu Chelsea. Yes. Yeah, I think we're on track to get the record for most red card suspensions in Prem history or something like that.
We're getting up there. So I think we're at 9, or we're at 7, and I think the record is 9.
Hey, it could be us.
At
this rate, bro. At this rate, I mean, we're on track.
Why not, bro? Why not us?
Yeah, why not us?
All
right, let's close it out. We appreciate y'all kicking it with us on this week's episode of the Verdependent podcast. I'm Logan Bartlett. You can find me online at Lobar VHLM.
And I'm Paul Fletes. You can catch me online at Paul Andrew FC, government name.
And keep the chatter going online by following at the Verdependent on socials. And if you can, consider leaving a review, liking, and subscribing wherever you get your podcast. That's an episode, y'all. We'll see you next week. Oh,
whoa! I totally forgot.
Yep.
I know you mentioned Memento at the top of the show.
I did.
But make sure that you're putting in your mementos, because last season I wasn't so hot about this, but this year we're gonna do things different. I already put my game 1 memento. I need to see all of y'all putting y'all's game 1 mementos in there.
I took a picture intentionally for memento. I was like, oh, here we go. I got my picture,
my man.
So I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'll get there. I've been busy. But anyway, that is an episode now, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, why are you screaming at me?
Oh my God.